Hello again, brothers and sisters. It is Saturday of Holy Week, and I'm giving you a short devotional today entitled Waiting. Have you ever thought about what it was like for the disciples in those awful hours between the death of Jesus and when they saw the resurrected Jesus? You ever ponder to think about what those hours as they drug on, as they were mourning the death of their friend, as they were in shock and all kinds of other emotions? You ever thought about what that was like? Well, today I want to give you just a quick glimpse. I actually have two different short pieces of scripture for you to read in preparation for this devotional. The first is from Mark chapter 16, verses 9 to 11, and the second is John 20, verse 19. Again, just a few short verses. If you would read those, if you haven't read them already, pause real quick, and then we'll keep on talking. Perhaps it's no surprise, but it's worth thinking about or talking about that when the women who first saw Jesus resurrected or first recognized that the tomb was empty, Mark tells us in those verses you read that Mary Magdalene, he appeared to Mary Magdalene, and she ran and told the others, and they didn't believe her. You know, as many times as you and I might be able to look back in the Gospels and see the little clues that Jesus was dropping along the way of what was going to happen, it should still not be a surprise to us that in the face of how catastrophically wrong everything seemed to have gone from the disciples' perspective, those last 24 hours, 36 hours of Jesus' life, it's no surprise that they did not believe. Things had gone off the rails. Things had gone completely not how they had planned and how they thought it might go. And even for those who thought they might have understood, it still didn't happen. I can assure you, still did not happen as they expected. Still the brutality, the suddenness, the awfulness, the weight of the reality sinking in that the one for whom they had followed for 3 years, had given their life to, had trusted in, had confessed that he was the Messiah, that one was now dead. Friends, are there things in your life, are there promises of God in your life that you have stopped believing because things haven't gone according to plan? This is the place where they found themselves. But there was more going on than that too, right? The women came and they told them, but where did they find the disciples? Where were they at? You know, the only glimpse we get is when Jesus comes to see them. And this is, we read in John chapter 20, verse 19, when Jesus comes to see them after his resurrection. And it says that they were, let me just read it for you. On the evening of that day, the first day of the week, the doors being locked where the disciples were for fear of the Jews. They were afraid. And I don't think it takes a stretch of imagination for us to understand why they were afraid. They had just seen the might and the power of both the Jewish authorities and the Roman Empire over them brutally, violently, and with finality deal with the one they had called Lord. Who knew but that they were next? And so they were locked in the room. They were afraid. They couldn't believe it. Their faith was shattered. Their emotions were ragged. And this is what they're doing while they're waiting. Again, I can tell you, friends, are there things are there areas of your life that are locked, that are not open to what God is doing because of fear? Those two things alone, those two things there, things not going according to plan and being afraid of something, those two things probably hinder our Christian walk and our faith and our understanding and our faithfulness to God more than about anything else. Can we today, as we are waiting for the end of this pandemic to come, as we're waiting for us to get released, to get free, can we today find in some little bit what it must have felt like for the disciples to wait? Waiting is not fun. When things go not according to plan, it is not fun. When there's fear pressing in around us, it is not fun. But take heart, friends. Tomorrow, the resurrection, Easter, is coming.